Welcome back to another edition of Gary's Record Collection. Another Led Zeppelin bootleg this time, and we're going all out on this. This is a classic, and when I say classic, I probably really mean very heavy. This is a 10-record set called Strange Tales from the Road. Now, here it is. This is monstrous. Look at that. Strange Tales from the Road. 10 records. What a wonderful cover, too. That is just awesome. That's some great cover art for 1985. That's when this came out. Look at this, 20 sides of track listings. And really, it's just about every song that Led Zeppelin ever played in concert at some point, one time or another. We're going to go through some of this. By the way, this did come out in CD later. Thank goodness, a little bit less heavy version, 8 CDs, but still pretty much definitely the entire contents of the record. This was amazing. First of all, it came out on colored vinyl, 500 copies. Those go for hundreds of dollars now in the collector's market. Mine is black vinyl, which probably goes for a few hundred as well. But it's not like I'm going to be getting rid of it anytime soon at all. I've had it for 30 plus years, so I was so happy to get it when I did get it. So let's talk about this 10 records. The first record is the FM broadcast from the Royal Albert Hall show in 1970. Now this has been superseded by the official release Led Zeppelin DVD in 2003 from the multi-track tapes. But before that came out, all we were left with was something that was recorded off the radio. There were some film snippets, but that was it. This is January 9th, 1970, Jimmy Page's birthday, and Bring It On Home. We'll skip ahead just a little bit. To crank it up. And in great condition for that era, an FM tape. It was not widely circulated, not like the BBC sessions at all, but very glad when that hit vinyl. This Strange Tales, they jump all over the place. The next one up is Chicago, 1977 on April 9th. This is the show where Jimmy Page, they had to call it quits because Jimmy Page had they said gastroenteritis, but it was like some people were saying, a little problem with heroin or other drugs or whatever. The show started good. standard set opener for 1977. That went into Sick Again. At the end of Sick Again, Robert Plant greets the audience, and then Jimmy Page tries to skip ahead 3 or 4 songs.
I guess let's talk about the music event again.
Okay. At this point, they're supposed to go into Nobody's Fault But Mine. But that's not what he's playing. And the band is going, what? What's going on here? So after that, they actually did get into Nobody's Fault But Mine, In My Time of Dying, Since I've Been Loving You, No Quarter, and 10 Years Gone. And at the end of 10 Years Gone, that was it. Page was done for the night. They came back. Robert Plant came back on stage to talk to the crowd.
Now tonight, whether you were aware of it or not, Jimmy has got a bag of gastroenteritis, which is something that isn't helped by firecrackers, but it isn't brought on by them. So we're going to take a necessary 5-minute break right now. So you must bear with us, because Jimmy is very lucky to be even playing tonight. Okay? You give us 5 minutes, please.
Led Zeppelin never took breaks. There was never a set break. They played straight through for 3 hours. This is unprecedented.
Has a bad attack of gastroenteritis. He does not want to do a half-hearted show tonight. If you watch the press and the papers on Monday and hang on to your ticket stubs, this show will be rescheduled and all your tickets will be re-honored.
Tour manager Richard Cole on the microphone.
Feel very bad about this, but please hang on to your tickets. And they will all be rescheduled for the next performance, and when they come back and replay this show again.
And they played the next night, April 10th, and it was a spectacular show. But for the ticket holders of April 9th, that never happened because the 77 tour was supposed to come back in August and go through Buffalo and then Chicago, Pittsburgh. It never happened, so they never were able to reschedule that show. That was because of the death of Robert Plant's son. And that was it. And that was really the end of Led Zeppelin in the United States after July 77 in Oakland. Another show on Strange Tales from the Road is the 20-minute show, yes, 20 minutes, from Tampa, Florida, June 3rd, 1977. Why 20 minutes? You live in Florida, you get used to thunderstorms every day, every single day in the summer, and this was no different. Here they come. The band hits the stage at 20 after 8. 15 minutes later, the skies open up. They start off strong, though. Check it out. This is The Song Remains the Same.
Bring on the blimp!
Bring on the blimp, they cried. Somebody with a bullhorn. Robert Plant, you've got curly hair. Nice. And you hear how this starts, it's going to be another epic concert. But by the time they got into the third song, Nobody's Fault But Mine, the skies just opened up and it was done. The show was never rescheduled because on the way out, the 50,000 fans who did not get to see a show, they rioted. They pretty much destroyed the stadium. And people came from all over. There were actually newspaper reports that fans had driven down from Buffalo, New York, Syracuse, New York, to Tampa, That's a 22-hour drive, and they drove down just to see Led Zeppelin in full flight, and they were grounded after 15 minutes. Zeppelin continues, and on Strange Tales from the Road, they go to Madison Square Garden June 14th. This was actually the first appearance of that tape on vinyl, and it was a great tape. It goes all the way through the beginning of the John Bonham drum solo, Out on the Tiles, Moby Dick, and then it gets cut off. The rest has not surfaced in the waning years at all, so we have not heard anything beyond that, except maybe for a fragment on an 8mm film, but definitely not the complete audience recording of that show. The second song into the set that night, following The Song Remains the Same, was Sick Again, with an intro from the Rover. Now, admittedly, this recording is a little bit rough, especially if you don't have your bootleg ears, but the performance is great. And also remember, at the beginning of the show, the sound people are still trying to get everything balanced for the arena. It does take them a couple of songs to get it perfected. So that's Sick Again from 1977. Strange Tales continues with some tracks, and I'm going to read this. The next classic performance takes up sides 13 through 16, features the Alexis Light Orchestra, an ensemble gathered together by Ian Stewart of the Rolling Stones for a tribute to Alexis Corner, the father of the British blues revolution back in the 60s. That happened in 1984. And so that's interesting that they skip from Led Zeppelin material into post-Zeppelin material. And then they come back to 1980 at London when they were rehearsing for their European tour. The set says that it's the final rehearsal in September 80, but it has been since discovered that it was from the May rehearsals before the tour. This is Stairway to Heaven, and in an empty rehearsal hall, there still has to be applause. Listen for one. Probably Robert Plant, little clapping sarcastically at the beginning of the song.
Willie, who's supposed to be where it says this on there? Be late. Oh, okay, so I go over there. I think so.
And there's more of that John Paul Jones keyboard, that almost cheap sounding synthesizer. It did not sound as good as even when he had the Mellotron, in my opinion. That synthesizer sound needed to be softened, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Stairway to Heaven from the 1980 tour rehearsals. The very heavy set finishes with the last LP is from Osaka 1971. This was a very interesting recording because it's been debated for years whether it was a soundboard or an audience recording, and if you listen to it, it sounds like It's possible that there were microphones placed right on the stage because there's very little audience noise at all. However, there's some good stereo separation. So you would have to have a mic on one side and then a mic on another pretty far apart. And if you're trying to do this clandestinely without the band knowing about it, seems like an impossible task. The other theory is that it was actually a recording made by the Japanese Warner Brothers label who distributed Led Zeppelin records in Japan, and they wanted a live album. So the band was not into it, but they said, all right, go ahead and record it, but we'll make the final call whether it gets recorded. And it sounds like this could have been that recording, because a true soundboard tape did come out a few years ago, and it's a different mix. So it's very possible that this first mix that came out, which is the alleged either the audience or the stage recording, is it's a different mix that was done on apparently on like a transistor mixer mixing board that the band thought was just a piece of garbage. So maybe that's why the tape was shielded away for all those years, but it did get out. This is one of those recordings. This is That's the Way. See, you can hear Jimmy Page in one channel and Robert Plant in the other, which really takes that idea that it's an audience recording with two separate microphones and throws it into the wastebasket.
I don't know how I'm going to tell you.
Because you also hear Jimmy Page on one channel and John Paul Jones is playing acoustic on another.
I don't know how I'm going to do what Mama told me. My friend, the boy next door.
But that tape was great too, because even though it's not on the set, John Bonham wandered off after an acoustic number, and they couldn't find him, so they play a couple of acoustic songs without John Bonham on stage. He comes back and is like, "Oh, what are you playing Tangerine? All right, let's go." And then they play that, and or they go into the drum solo after that. It's quite an amazing show. You have to look at that on another edition of the record collection. But there it is. That is 10 LPs, 20 sides, Strange Tales from the Road. This, and I love this artwork. I think this needs to be a t-shirt. Maybe I need to go into a side business and put all these classic bootleg covers on t-shirts and get them out to the masses. So I hope you liked it. We'll see you again on Gary's Record Collection next time.